Dr. Annabelle pressed her face against the small window of the transport ship and watched as the alien space station grew larger in front of them. After 3 months of travel from Earth, they had finally reached the Galactic Council station. Her heart beat fast with excitement and fear. This was the moment humanity had dreamed about for centuries. Rex sat beside her on the floor, his brown eyes looking up at her face. The German Shepherd had been her companion for 6 years, and she could not imagine making this journey without him. When the Council had invited Earth to send representatives, Anna had insisted that Rex come with her. As Earth's top expert on animal behavior, she wanted to show the aliens how special the bond between humans and animals could be. The transport ship docked with a soft bump. Anna picked up Rex's leash and her bag of research materials. Through the airlock, she could see the inside of the alien station for the first time. The walls were made of some kind of glowing metal, and the air had a strange, sweet smell. Lights moved in patterns along the ceiling, creating colors she had never seen before. A tall, thin creature with 4 arms and skin like tree bark waited for them at the entrance. This was her first real alien, and Anna tried not to stare. The being spoke through a translation device that hung around its neck. "I am Guide Fell. Welcome to Council Station. You are the human delegation?" Anna nodded. "Yes, I'm Dr. Annabelle from Earth. This is Rex." Guide Fell looked down at Rex with what might have been confusion. Its large black eyes blinked slowly. "What is this creature? Is it your food supply?" No, Anna said quickly. "Rex is my companion. On Earth, we call them pets. They live with us and become part of our families." Guide Fell made a sound that the translator could not convert. "Strange. Follow me to the presentation chamber. The council members are waiting." They walked through long corridors filled with beings Anna had only seen in pictures sent by the council's first contact team. Insect-like creatures with shiny shells clicked across the floor on 6 legs. Floating clouds of gas moved through the air, somehow maintaining their shape. Reptilian beings with scales that changed color stood in groups, hissing in their own language. All of them stopped to stare at Rex. Some pointed with whatever they used for hands. Others made sounds that the translators picked up as laughter. The presentation chamber was huge, with a platform in the center surrounded by seats for different types of bodies. Anna counted 7 different alien species in the audience. She had studied their files during the journey, but seeing them in person was completely different. Commander Yell, a cloudling who served as the station's leader, floated above the other council members. Its voice came from speakers placed around the room since it had no solid mouth. "Human representative, present your species for evaluation by the Galactic Council." Anna walked to the center platform with Rex beside her. She had practiced this speech hundreds of times, but now her mouth felt dry. She began by explaining Earth's location, their technology level, and their desire to join the galactic community. But the council members were not paying attention to her words. They were all looking at Rex, who sat calmly beside her, occasionally looking around the room with intelligent eyes. A Hivari delegate, looking like a giant ant with purple skin, interrupted her presentation. "Excuse me, human. Why do you carry this small creature with you? Is it a tool? A weapon?" "Rex is my pet," Anna explained. "On Earth, many humans form close emotional bonds with animals. We take care of them, and they provide us with companionship and love." The chamber filled with the alien equivalent of laughter. The Scalari delegates, who looked like large lizards, hissed with amusement. The crystalline prismans made tinkling sounds like breaking glass. A Scalari named Hunter Vell stood up. "You mean to tell us that your species wastes resources caring for inferior creatures? For emotional satisfaction?" "It's not a waste," Anna said, feeling her cheeks turn red. "The relationship benefits both species. Rex is loyal, intelligent, and brave. He would do anything to protect me." This caused even more laughter. Commander Yell's voice boomed through the speakers. "Human, you speak of this animal as if it has the same value as a sentient being. This is quite primitive thinking." Guide Fell, who had been quiet until now, spoke up. "On my world, we use animals for labor or food. Nothing more. The idea of emotional attachment to a lesser species is disturbing." Anna tried to continue her presentation, showing Earth's achievements in science, art, and technology. But the council members kept returning to the subject of Rex. They asked mocking questions about how much food humans wasted on pets, whether pets served any practical purpose. and why humans had not evolved beyond such primitive emotional attachments. Rex seemed to sense the hostile mood in the room. He stayed close to Anna's side, his ears alert and his body tense. Sometimes he looked directly at the alien delegates as if he understood they were making fun of him and his human. The presentation ended badly. Instead of discussing Earth's membership in the Council, the delegates spent most of their time expressing amazement and disgust at human-pet relationships. They compared it to their own interactions with animals which were purely practical. The HFY used insects as living tools. The Scolari hunted for sport and food. The Prismans absorbed minerals from certain creatures but felt no emotional connection to them. As Anna and Rex left the chamber, she could hear the aliens still talking and laughing about the strange humans who loved animals. Guide Fell walked with them back toward their quarters. "Dr. Bell," the alien said, "I must ask, does this creature actually provide any measurable benefit to your species? Or is this love simply a weakness you have not yet overcome?" Anna looked down at Rex, who was walking calmly beside her despite all the staring and laughing they had endured. His presence made her feel less alone on this strange station full of beings who could not understand the most basic part of what made humans special. "You wouldn't understand," she said, quietly. "Perhaps not," Guidefell replied, "but if you wish Earth to join our council, you may need to explain how such primitive emotional attachments fit into an advanced galactic civilization." Anna realized that her biggest challenge would not be proving humanity's technological abilities or intelligence. It would be helping these aliens understand that some things could not be measured in practical terms, but were valuable beyond any calculation. 3 days had passed since the disastrous presentation, and Anna felt the weight of failure pressing down on her shoulders. She sat in the station's observation deck, watching distant stars through the transparent walls while Rex lay at her feet. The other human diplomats had been polite but distant since the Council's reaction to her presentation. She could tell they blamed her for bringing Rex. Dr. Robert Kim, the head of the human delegation, found her there during the station's artificial evening cycle. He sat down across from her, careful not to look directly at Rex. "Anna, we need to talk about tomorrow's follow-up session," he said. "The Council has agreed to give us another chance, but they've made it clear that they want to focus on practical matters. No more discussion about emotional attachments." Anna felt a familiar anger rising in her chest. "Robert, you're missing the point. The way humans bond with animals is part of who we are. It shows our capacity for loyalty, sacrifice, and unconditional love. These aren't weaknesses, but the Council sees them as primitive traits," Robert replied. "Commander Yell told me privately that several species are questioning whether humans are ready for galactic civilization if we still cling to such basic emotional responses." Before Anna could respond, Guidefell approached their table. The alien had been assigned to help the human delegation understand station protocols, but Anna suspected it was also reporting their conversations back to the Council. "Dr. Bell, I have been curious about something," Fell said, settling its long body into a chair designed for its species. "You claim this creature shows intelligence and loyalty. Can you demonstrate this?" Anna looked down at Rex, who had lifted his head when he heard his name mentioned. "What kind of demonstration?" "Simple commands. Proof that it understands and obeys." Anna felt uncomfortable treating Rex like a circus animal, but she needed any chance to change the aliens' minds. "Rex, sit." Rex immediately sat up straight, his eyes focused on Anna's face. "Stay," Anna said, then walked to the other side of the room. Rex remained perfectly still, even when a group of HFY workers passed by, their 6 legs clicking loudly on the metal floor. "Come," Anna called, and Rex trotted over to her side. Guidefell observed this with scientific interest but no emotion. Impressive conditioning. The HFY achieve similar results with their tool insects. How long does such training require? "You're missing the point," Anna said, frustration creeping into her voice. "This isn't just training. Rex chooses to listen to me because he trusts me and wants to please me. If I were in danger, he would protect me even if it meant risking his own life." "Impossible," said a new voice. Hunter Vell, the Scolari delegate, had been listening from a nearby table. The large reptilian creature moved over to join their conversation. "Animals act on instinct and conditioning, nothing more. This idea of choice and sacrifice is human fantasy. On my world," Hunter Vell continued, "we hunt the razor beasts for sport. They are cunning, fast, and dangerous. but they fight only for their own survival. The concept of one creature willingly dying for another is biologically impossible, unless programmed by evolution for species survival. Guidefell nodded in agreement. The creature shows obedience, but you interpret this through human emotional filters. On my world, we cultivate tree worms that respond to chemical signals. They appear to care for the trees they inhabit, but this is merely biological programming. Anna felt her cheeks burning. Rex isn't programmed. He's capable of real emotion, real choice. You just can't see it because you've never experienced unconditional love. This statement caused both aliens to make sounds that their translators rendered as amusement. Hunter Vell's scales shifted to a mottled yellow pattern that Anna had learned indicated skepticism. Love is a chemical reaction designed to encourage mating and offspring protection, the Scolari said. Extending such reactions to other species is an evolutionary mistake your people have not yet corrected. Over the following days, Anna found herself drawn into more of these conversations. It seemed like every alien on the station wanted to understand the strange human custom of keeping pets. But their questions always focused on practical benefits or evolutionary purposes. None of them could grasp the idea that some relationships existed simply because they brought joy and meaning to life. A Prisman delegate named Crystal Shard visited her quarters to see Rex for itself. The crystalline being's body reflected light in rainbow patterns as it moved, creating dancing colors on the walls. "I absorb life essence from crystal moths on my homeworld," it said in a voice like wind chimes. "This provides necessary minerals for my growth. The moths die, but their sacrifice serves a higher purpose. Does your creature provide similar benefits?" "Rex gives me companionship, comfort, and happiness," Anna explained. "When I'm sad, he comforts me. When I'm afraid, his presence makes me brave." Crystal Shard's body flickered with different colors as it processed this information. "These are internal states with no measurable value. How does this advance your species or increase your survival chances?" Anna struggled to find words that would make sense to beings who thought only in terms of practical benefits. "Some things are valuable because they make life worth living, not because they help us survive." "Curious," Crystal Shard replied. "On my world, survival and advancement are the only measures of value. Individual emotional states are irrelevant. Even the cloudlings, who Anna had hoped might understand abstract concepts better than the other species, seemed baffled by human-pet relationships. Commander Yell visited her during one of the station's rest periods, its gaseous form shifting between different shades of blue and green. "Dr. Bell, I have studied your species files extensively," the commander said. "Humans show great potential in many areas. Your technology is advancing rapidly, your problem-solving abilities are impressive, and your art forms show creativity. But this attachment to animals suggests an inability to move beyond primitive emotional responses. Commander, with respect, maybe those emotional responses are what make us valuable to the galactic community," Anna said. "Maybe the Council needs species who understand concepts like loyalty and sacrifice." "The Council values logic, efficiency, and advancement," Commander Yell replied. "Emotional attachments to inferior species suggest humans are not ready to leave such primitive thinking behind." As the days passed, Anna watched Rex become the subject of constant staring and whispered conversations. Alien visitors would point at him as they passed, often making sounds that the translators picked up as laughter or disgust. Rex bore it all with quiet dignity, staying close to Anna's side and watching the aliens with intelligent, alert eyes. The other human diplomats grew increasingly uncomfortable with the attention Rex attracted. During a private meeting, Dr. Kim finally addressed the elephant in the room. "Anna, maybe it would be better if Rex stayed in quarters during the remaining negotiations," he suggested. "The Council clearly sees him as a distraction from more important matters." "But that's exactly the problem," Anna replied. "They're judging us based on their own limited understanding of relationships. If we hide Rex away, we're basically agreeing that our bonds with animals are something to be ashamed of." "Maybe we should be ashamed," said Dr. Sarah Martinez, the team's political specialist. "If keeping pets is seen as primitive by 7 different advanced alien species, maybe they have a point." Anna looked around the room at her fellow humans, people she had respected and worked with for years. Now they were all looking at her with doubt and frustration. Even her own species was starting to question whether the human-animal bond was something to be proud of or something to hide. That night, alone in her quarters with Rex, Anna wondered if she had made a terrible mistake. Maybe the aliens were right. Maybe emotional attachments to animals were just primitive holdovers from humanity's evolutionary past. Maybe advanced civilizations really did need to move beyond such things. Rex seemed to sense her doubt. He moved closer to her chair and rested his head on her knee, looking up at her with eyes full of trust and love. In that moment, Anna knew that no matter what the aliens thought, no matter what her fellow humans said, this bond was real and valuable. She just had to find a way to prove it. Anna woke to the sound of alarm bells echoing through the station corridors. Red lights flashed in her quarters, casting everything in an eerie glow. Rex was already awake, standing by the door with his ears pointed forward and his body tense. Something was very wrong. The communication system crackled to life with Commander Yell's voice, distorted by static and urgency. All station personnel report to designated safety zones immediately. This is not a drill. Unknown vessels are approaching at high speed. All diplomatic activities are suspended. Anna quickly dressed and grabbed Rex's leash, though she suspected it would not be needed. Rex stayed close to her side as they stepped into the corridor, where aliens of all species were hurrying toward different sections of the station. The organized calm that usually filled the station had been replaced by barely controlled panic. Guidefell appeared beside them, moving faster than Anna had ever seen the tall alien move. "Dr. Bell, you must come with me to the human diplomatic sector. Emergency protocols require all visitors to remain in secure areas." "What's happening?" Anna asked as they hurried through the corridors. "Who's approaching the station?" Fell's large black eyes darted nervously around the corridor before answering. Long-range sensors detected 3 ships. The configuration matches known Void Hunter vessels. Anna felt her blood turn cold. During her preparation for this mission, she had read about the Void Hunters in the classified briefings. They were a nomadic species that traveled through space in massive fleets, raiding peaceful settlements and stations. They took what they wanted and destroyed what they could not use. No one knew where they came from originally, and they never attempted communication before attacking. They reached the human quarters to find Dr. Kim and the other diplomats gathered around a communication console, their faces pale with worry. The main screen showed 3 dark shapes moving against the backdrop of stars, growing larger with each passing moment. "How long until they reach us?" Dr. Martinez asked. "Approximately 2 hours." Commander Yell's voice responded through the speakers. "Station defenses are being prepared, but our weapons are designed to deter minor threats, not repel a full Void Hunter assault." Dr. Kim turned to guide Fell. "What about evacuation? Can we get the diplomatic delegations off the station?" "Negative," Fell replied. "The Void Hunters move too fast. Any escape ships would be destroyed before reaching safe distance. Our only option is to defend the station and hope they move on to easier targets." Anna listened to this exchange with growing dread, but she noticed something else that troubled her. Rex had not relaxed since the alarms began. He paced near the windows, occasionally stopping to stare out at the approaching ships. His behavior reminded her of how he acted before earthquakes or severe storms on Earth, as if he could sense danger that humans could not detect. Over the next hour, the station transformed from a center of diplomatic activity into a fortress preparing for siege. Blast doors sealed off non-essential sections. Emergency force fields activated around critical systems. The various alien species worked together with efficiency born of desperation, but Anna could see the fear in their movements. Hunter Vel arrived at the human quarters with updates from the security center. The Scolari's usual confident demeanor had been replaced by grim determination. "The Void Hunters have responded to our communication attempts with silence," the reptilian reported. "Their ships are larger than our initial scans indicated. Intelligence suggests they carry at least 500 raiders each. 1,500 attackers against a diplomatic station," Dr. Kim said quietly. "How many security personnel do we have?" 200, Hunter Vel replied. "Most are trained for crowd control and minor incidents, not warfare." Crystal Shard materialized near the communication console, its crystalline body flickering with rapid color changes that Anna had learned indicated extreme stress. "The Void Hunters are known for taking prisoners. They use other species as slaves in their mining operations or as food sources for their carnivorous castes." Anna felt sick to her stomach. She looked down at Rex, who had stopped pacing and was now sitting perfectly still, staring at the main screen. His body was rigid with tension, and she could see the muscles in his legs bunched as if ready to spring into action. Commander Yell's voice filled the room again. All personnel be advised, the Void Hunter ships will reach weapons range in 30 minutes. Non-essential personnel should move to interior sections with the strongest structural integrity. The next few minutes passed in a blur of activity as the station's inhabitants prepared for battle. Anna found herself moved along with the other humans toward the central core of the station, where the walls were thickest and the life support systems were most protected. But as they walked through the corridors, Rex began acting increasingly agitated. He pulled against his leash, trying to move in different directions. He whined softly, a sound Anna had rarely heard from him. When they reached the designated safe area, Rex refused to settle down. He kept moving to the walls, pressing his ear against the metal as if listening for something. "What's wrong with your animal?" asked a Hivari delegate who had been assigned to the same safe area. "Its behavior is disruptive." "I don't know," Anna admitted. "He's never acted like this before." Dr. Kim looked at Rex with annoyance. "Anna, can't you control him? We're all stressed enough without dealing with an agitated animal." But Anna was beginning to understand. Rex's behavior reminded her of stories she had read about dogs detecting earthquakes, tsunamis, and other disasters before humans realized the danger. His senses were far more acute than any humans, and he was picking up on something that their instruments had missed. The first explosion shook the station 20 minutes earlier than expected. The lights flickered, and everyone in the safe area was thrown to the floor as the artificial gravity systems struggled to compensate. Emergency lighting kicked in, casting eerie shadows on the walls. "They're attacking the outer docking bays," Commander Yell announced. "All security teams to defense positions. The Void Hunters are attempting to board the station." Rex had stopped whining and was now perfectly alert, his eyes fixed on the entrance to their safe area. Anna realized with growing horror that the Void Hunters were not just attacking randomly. They had a plan, and somehow Rex could sense that their current location was not as safe as the aliens believed. "Commander?" Anna called out to the communication system. "I think the Void Hunters are targeting the central core. My dog is reacting to something our sensors aren't detecting." The response came back filled with static and condescension. "Dr. Bell, this is not the time for theories based on animal behavior. Please remain calm and follow emergency protocols." But Rex's agitation was becoming impossible to ignore. He moved to the sealed door and began scratching at it, looking back at Anna with urgent eyes. Other animals throughout Earth's history had warned their humans of dangers that technology could not detect. Anna had to make a choice: trust the aliens' advanced sensors and security protocols, or trust the instincts of a creature whose ancestors had survived by detecting threats in the wild. The second explosion was much closer, and this time the lights went out completely. In the darkness, Anna could hear Rex moving toward her, his warm body pressing against her legs. She reached down to touch his head and felt him trembling with tension, every muscle in his body ready for action. Around them, alien voices called out in panic as they realized that their safe area might not be safe at all. The sound of cutting tools could be heard through the walls, growing steadily louder. The Void Hunters had found them. The cutting sounds grew louder until sparks began shooting through the sealed door. Anna watched in horror as a white-hot line appeared in the metal, slowly carving a circle large enough for attackers to pass through. Around her, the alien delegates pressed back against the far walls, their panic filling the air with strange sounds and smells. Rex stood perfectly still beside Anna, his body coiled like a spring. She had never seen him so focused, so ready for action. His eyes never left the door where the Void Hunters were cutting their way inside. "How did they find us so quickly?" Dr. Martinez whispered. This was supposed to be the most secure section of the station. Guide Fell's voice shook as it replied, "The Void Hunters have raided stations like this before. They know our standard safety protocols. They probably targeted this area first because they knew we would bring important prisoners here." The cutting stopped. For a moment, the room fell silent except for the hum of failing life support systems. Then the circular section of door fell inward with a thunderous crash, and the first Void Hunter stepped through the opening. Anna had seen pictures of Void Hunters in the briefing materials, but nothing had prepared her for the reality. The creature was nearly 8 feet tall, covered in dark armor that seemed to absorb light. Its face was hidden behind a helmet with glowing red sensors, and its 4 arms each carried a different weapon. Behind it, 2 more Void Hunters pushed through the opening, their movements quick and predatory. The aliens in the room scrambled in all directions, but there was nowhere to run. The Void Hunters raised their weapons and began scanning the crowd, their helmet sensors focusing on each delegate in turn. Anna found herself separated from the main group, pushed against a sidewall by the panicking aliens. One of the Void Hunters noticed her isolation and began moving in her direction, its weapons humming with energy. That was when Rex acted. The German Shepherd launched himself across the room faster than Anna had ever seen him move. He struck the lead Void Hunter in the chest with the full force of his body, sending the massive alien staggering backward. Rex's teeth found gaps in the armor around the creature's neck, and his powerful jaws clamped down with crushing force. The Void Hunter made a sound like grinding metal and tried to shake Rex off, but the dog held on with determination that surprised even Anna. She had seen Rex play with other dogs, had watched him chase balls and swim in lakes, but she had never seen him fight for his life. The other two Void Hunters immediately turned their attention to Rex, raising their weapons to fire. Anna realized with crystal clarity that they were going to kill him, and there was nothing she could do to stop it. "Rex, no! Get away from them!" she screamed. But Rex did not retreat. Instead, he released his grip on the first attacker and immediately lunged at the second, knocking its aim off just as it fired. The energy blast went wide, striking the wall near Anna but missing her by inches. The room erupted in chaos. Some aliens tried to rush past the Void Hunters toward the opening, only to be stunned by weapon blasts. Others cowered in corners, hoping to be overlooked. But Anna could only watch as Rex fought against impossible odds to protect her. The first Void Hunter had recovered and was now trying to get a clear shot at Rex, but the dog was too fast and too close. He darted between their legs, bit at their joints, and used his speed to stay ahead of their weapons. But Anna could see that he was already bleeding from several wounds and he was beginning to slow down. "Someone help him." Anna shouted to the other humans, but Dr. Kim and the others were pressed against the far wall, their faces pale with terror. "Anna, get away from there," Dr. Kim called back. "Don't make yourself a target." Anna realized that everyone in the room, human and alien alike, was focused on their own survival. No one was going to risk their life to help a dog, no matter how brave he was being. One of the Void Hunters finally managed to corner Rex against a wall. The creature raised a weapon that looked like a combination of a gun and a blade, preparing to end the fight. Rex crouched low, his eyes never leaving his enemy's face, ready to make one last desperate attack. Anna could not watch her oldest friend die alone. She grabbed a piece of debris from the fallen door and ran toward the Void Hunter, shouting at the top of her lungs. It was a foolish, hopeless gesture, but she could not stand by and do nothing. The Void Hunter turned its attention to her just as Rex made his final leap. The dog struck the creature's weapon arm, throwing off its aim, while Anna hit it with the metal debris. Her attack did no real damage to the armored giant, but it gave Rex the opening he needed to sink his teeth into the creature's wrist. The Void Hunter dropped its weapon and grabbed Rex with its other hands, trying to pull him off. But Rex held on with the stubborn determination that had made him chase tennis balls until he collapsed from exhaustion. Behind them, Anna heard the sound of running footsteps. Station security forces had finally reached their location, but she knew they would be too late. The Void Hunters had already identified their targets and were preparing to retreat with prisoners. The lead Void Hunter spoke for the first time, its voice coming through a translator that made it sound like grinding stone. "Cease resistance. You will come with us or we will kill everyone in this room." Around the room, the alien delegates slowly raised their hands or appendages in surrender. Dr. Kim stepped forward with his hands up, speaking in a shaky voice. "We surrender. Just don't hurt anyone else." But Rex had not surrendered. Even wounded and bleeding, he continued to fight against the Void Hunter that held him. His growls filled the room, a sound of pure defiance that seemed to challenge the very idea of giving up. Anna looked at her fellow humans, at the alien delegates who had spent days mocking the primitive human attachment to animals, and at the Void Hunters who saw all of them as nothing more than resources to be harvested. In that moment, she understood something that none of them had grasped during all their debates about emotion and logic. Rex was not fighting because he had been trained to fight. He was not fighting because of some evolutionary program. He was fighting because he loved her, and love sometimes meant choosing to stand against impossible odds. The Void Hunter holding Rex raised its free hand to strike him down, but before it could deliver the blow, the sound of weapon fire echoed through the room. Station security had arrived and the battle for the station was about to begin in earnest, but the damage was already done. The aliens had seen what human-animal loyalty really meant when everything else fell away. They had seen a creature willingly face death to protect someone he loved, while beings with advanced intelligence chose surrender and safety. As energy blasts filled the air and the security forces engaged the Void Hunters, Anna crawled across the floor toward Rex, who had finally been thrown clear of the fighting. She reached him just as he collapsed, his breathing shallow and his eyes beginning to close. "You brave, stupid dog," she whispered, gathering him in her arms. "You beautiful, brave, stupid dog." Rex looked up at her with eyes that held no regret, only love and the satisfaction of a job well done. Around them, the battle raged on. But for Anna, the only thing that mattered was the warm weight of her friend in her arms, and the knowledge that some bonds could never be broken, no matter what the cost. Rex lay unconscious in Anna's arms as the battle raged around them. Energy blasts lit up the room in flashes of blue and red, while the station's security forces fought desperately against the Void Hunter raiders. Anna pressed herself against the wall, trying to shield Rex's body from the flying debris and stray shots. The lead Void Hunter, the one Rex had attacked first, was now engaged in combat with Hunter Vel and 2 security officers. Despite being outnumbered, the massive raider was holding its own, its superior armor and weapons giving it a significant advantage. Anna could see dark stains on its armor where Rex's teeth had found their mark, proof that her dog's courage had not been entirely in vain. Medical assistance needed in Sector 7. Anna heard someone shout into a communicator. She looked down at Rex and saw blood seeping through his fur from multiple wounds. His breathing was shallow and irregular and his eyes remained closed. Guidefell appeared beside her, moving in a crouch to avoid the weapons fire. The tall alien's usual calm demeanor had been replaced by something Anna had never seen before. Respect. "Dr. Bell, we need to get your companion to the medical bay," Fell said urgently. "The station's auto-medical systems can treat injuries that would be fatal with primitive care. Can you help me carry him?" Anna asked, struggling to lift Rex's limp form. Without hesitation, Fell scooped Rex into its 4 arms with surprising gentleness. "Stay close to me. I know the safe routes through the station." They made their way through corridors filled with smoke and emergency lighting. Behind them, Anna could hear the sounds of fighting growing more intense as more Void Hunters pushed through the station's defenses. But ahead of them, she could see the medical bay's distinctive blue glow. The medical bay was chaos. Injured aliens of various species lay on treatment tables, while robotic medical units moved between them, sealing wounds and injecting medicines. A Prisman medic named Healer Light directed the automated systems with rapid color changes across its crystalline body. "What species is this creature?" Healer Light asked as Fell placed Rex on an empty treatment table. "Our medical database does not contain biological information for this form." "He's a domestic dog from Earth," Anna said quickly. "Canine species. I have his medical records on my personal device." Healer Light's body flickered as it processed this information. "Interesting. The database shows that Earth canines share many biological similarities with several known species. The medical system should be able to adapt." Anna watched as mechanical arms descended from the ceiling, scanning Rex's body with lights and sensors. She had never seen alien medical technology before, but it was clearly far more advanced than anything on Earth. Within minutes, the machines had identified all of Rex's injuries and begun treatment. Multiple lacerations, 2 cracked ribs, internal bleeding, and severe exhaustion, Healer Light reported. "The injuries are serious but not fatal. Your companion fought with remarkable intensity for a creature of his size." Anna felt tears of relief running down her cheeks. "Will he be okay?" "The biological repair systems are already working," the Prisman replied. "However, I must ask why did this animal attack the Void Hunters? Our behavioral models suggest that most creatures would flee from such overwhelming threats." Before Anna could answer, the medical bay doors burst open and Commander Yell flowed inside, its gaseous form shifting rapidly between different colors. "Healer Light, we need damage reports." "How many casualties?" 17 injured, 3 critical, none fatal so far," the medic replied. "But Commander, you should know about what happened in the safe area. The human's companion animal engaged 3 Void Hunters in direct combat to protect its human." Commander Yell's form stopped shifting and focused on Rex's still form on the treatment table. This small creature attacked Void Hunters. Not just attacked, said Hunter Vel, who had just entered the medical bay with bandages wrapped around one arm. It fought them with no regard for its own survival. I watched it take hits that would have killed a Scolari warrior, yet it continued fighting until the humans were safe. Anna looked up to see that a crowd had gathered around Rex's treatment table. Aliens from several species stood watching as the medical systems worked to heal his wounds. Their expressions were different from the mockery and dismissal she had seen before. Now they looked confused, curious, and something else she had not expected. Impressed. Crystal Shard materialized near the table, its body reflecting the medical bay's lights in rainbow patterns. I observed the entire encounter. The creature had multiple opportunities to flee and save itself, but it chose to remain between the Void Hunters and its human. That makes no logical sense, said a Hivari delegate who had arrived with the others. Individual survival should override protection of other species. This behavior contradicts basic biological programming. Unless, Guidefell said slowly, the behavior is not based on programming at all. Anna watched as Rex's eyes slowly opened. He was still weak from his injuries, but the alien medical technology had already stopped the bleeding and begun healing the worst damage. When he saw Anna's face, his tail moved in a weak but unmistakable wag. "Hey there, brave boy," Anna whispered, gently stroking his head. "You did good. You did so good." Rex tried to sit up, but the medical restraints held him in place. His eyes moved around the room, taking in all the alien faces staring down at him. To Anna's amazement, he did not seem afraid or aggressive. Instead, he looked alert and curious, as if he was studying the beings who had previously mocked him. Commander Yell spoke into its communication device. "Security update. What is the status of the Void Hunter assault?" "They're retreating, Commander," came the reply. "Our forces managed to disable 2 of their ships, and the 3rd is withdrawing. They took minimal prisoners and resources. The attack appears to have been abandoned." A cheer went up from the aliens in the medical bay, but Anna barely heard it. She was focused on Rex, who was slowly regaining his strength. The medical scanners showed that his vital signs were stabilizing, and his injuries were healing at an incredible rate. Dr. Kim arrived at the medical bay with the other human diplomats, their faces pale but relieved. When they saw Rex conscious and alert, Dr. Martinez actually smiled for the first time since the attack began. "I can't believe he survived," she said quietly. "When I saw him attacking those things, I thought we were about to watch him die." "He almost did die," Anna replied. "But he chose to fight anyway. That's what I've been trying to explain to all of you. This isn't about training or instinct. This is about choice." Hunter Vel stepped closer to the treatment table. Its scales shifting to colors Anna had learned indicated deep thought. "Dr. Bell, I owe you an apology. When you spoke of loyalty and sacrifice, I believed you were attributing sentient qualities to a simple animal, but what I witnessed today was not simple at all. Your companion displayed tactical thinking," added a Hivari observer. "It identified the greatest threats, disrupted their coordination, and maintained defensive positions even while injured. These are behaviors we see only in our most advanced warrior castes." Commander Yell's gaseous form swirled thoughtfully. "Perhaps we have been too quick to dismiss concepts we do not fully understand. The creature's actions today saved multiple lives, including those of council delegates." Anna looked around at the gathered aliens, seeing something in their faces that had not been there before. The mockery was gone, replaced by curiosity and a growing respect. They were beginning to understand that the bond between humans and their animals might be more than primitive emotion. But the real test would come later, when the immediate danger had passed, and they had time to truly consider what they had witnessed. Would they remember Rex's courage, or would they dismiss it as an anomaly? As if sensing her thoughts, Rex lifted his head and looked directly at Commander Yell. The dog's eyes were clear and intelligent, and for a long moment, the alien leader and the Earth animal regarded each other in silence. Finally, Commander Yell spoke. "I believe, Dr. Bell, that your species may have something valuable to teach the Galactic Council after all." Anna smiled and gently scratched behind Rex's ears. "I think you're right, Commander. I think you're absolutely right." 2 weeks had passed since the Void Hunter attack, and the Council Station had returned to its normal routine of diplomatic meetings and cultural exchanges. But something fundamental had changed in the way the alien delegates looked at Anna and Rex as they walked through the corridors. Rex had made a full recovery thanks to the advanced medical technology, though he now bore several small scars that served as permanent reminders of his courage. He seemed completely unaware that he had become something of a celebrity among the station's inhabitants. Aliens would stop to watch him pass, and Anna had caught several of them taking recordings with their various devices. The formal hearing was scheduled for today, and Anna felt nervous as she prepared for what might be humanity's final chance to join the Galactic Council. But this time the nervousness was mixed with hope. The events of the attack had changed the conversation in ways she had never expected. Guidefell arrived at her quarters precisely on time, as always. But the tall alien's demeanor had shifted over the past 2 weeks. Where once it had seemed merely polite and professional, now there was genuine warmth in its interactions. "Dr. Bell, the council is ready for your presentation," Fell said. Then it looked down at Rex and added something that surprised Anna. "Good morning to you as well, Rex. I trust you are feeling well today?" Rex wagged his tail and looked up at the alien with friendly eyes. Over the past weeks, he had seemed to accept that these strange beings were no longer threats, and had begun treating them with the same calm friendliness he showed to humans back on Earth. The walk to the council chamber felt different this time. Instead of curious stares and mocking laughter, Anna noticed that many aliens stepped aside respectfully as they passed. Some even made gestures that their translators interpreted as greetings or acknowledgments. The council chamber had been rebuilt after suffering damage during the Void Hunter attack. The new design included a memorial wall listing the names of those who had died defending the station. Anna was surprised to see that Rex's name had been included among the honored defenders. Commander Yell floated above the assembled delegates, its gaseous form more stable and focused than Anna had seen before. The Galactic Council reconvenes to consider Earth's application for membership. Dr. Bell, you may proceed with your revised presentation. Anna walked to the center platform with Rex beside her, but this time she felt confident rather than defensive. The faces looking back at her showed curiosity and respect rather than mockery. "Honored delegates," she began, "2 weeks ago, many of you questioned whether humanity's emotional bonds with animals represented primitive thinking that had no place in an advanced galactic civilization. Today I want to talk about what happened during the Void Hunter attack, and what it reveals about the true nature of these relationships." She activated a holographic display showing footage from the station's security cameras during the attack. The aliens watched in silence as the events unfolded on screen. Rex's initial alertness to danger, his protective positioning, and finally, his desperate fight against overwhelming odds. "As you can see," Anna continued, "Rex's actions were not based on training or instinct. He made conscious choices to put himself in danger to protect not just me, but everyone in that room. This is what we call unconditional love, and it represents one of humanity's greatest strengths." Hunter Vell stood up from the Scolari delegation. "Dr. Bell, I was present during the attack, and I must publicly acknowledge that my previous assessment was incorrect. Your companion displayed courage and tactical thinking that would be honored among our greatest warriors." A murmur of agreement rippled through the chamber. Crystal Shard's crystalline body flickered with colors that Anna had learned indicated deep respect. The creature's willingness to sacrifice itself for others challenges our understanding of interspecies relationships. Perhaps there are forms of value that cannot be measured in practical terms. Anna smiled at this admission. "That's exactly right. The bonds between humans and our animal companions create something that is greater than the sum of its parts. These relationships teach us about loyalty, sacrifice, and unconditional love. They make us better beings." Guidefell rose from its position near the chamber's edge. "Dr. Bell, since the attack, I have been researching similar relationships on other worlds. I have discovered that my own people once had comparable bonds with the tree worms I mentioned before. But we abandoned these relationships centuries ago in pursuit of greater efficiency." "What happened to the tree worms?" Anna asked. "They adapted to our absence, but our forests have never been as healthy since we severed those connections. We gained efficiency, but we lost something valuable that we did not understand until now." Anna looked around the chamber and saw similar expressions of thoughtfulness on many faces. The attack had given them a concrete example of the abstract concepts she had been trying to explain, and it was changing how they thought about emotion, loyalty, and the relationships between different species. Commander Yell's voice filled the chamber. Dr. Bell, the Council has observed that humans who form these animal bonds often display enhanced emotional intelligence, greater empathy, and improved problem-solving abilities when working in groups. Are these benefits widespread among your species? Very widespread, Anna confirmed. Humans who grow up with animal companions typically develop stronger social skills, better emotional regulation, and increased capacity for cooperation. The relationships teach us skills that we then apply to our interactions with other humans and, hopefully, with other species as well. A HFY delegate raised one of its appendages. This suggests that what we interpreted as primitive emotional attachment is actually an advanced form of social development. The animals serve as teachers for complex behavioral skills. But they're more than teachers, Anna said firmly. They're partners, friends, and family members. The relationship benefits both species, but it exists because it brings joy and meaning to life, not just because it serves a practical purpose. Rex, who had been sitting quietly during the presentation, suddenly stood up and walked over to Guide Fell. The tall alien looked down in surprise as Rex sat beside its chair and looked up with friendly eyes. He likes you, Anna explained with a smile. Over the past 2 weeks, he's learned to trust you. That's how the relationship begins, with trust and acceptance. Guide Fell hesitantly reached down with one of its 4 hands and gently touched Rex's head. The dog's tail wagged in response, and Anna saw several aliens in the chamber react with what looked like amazement. The creature shows no fear, observed a cloudling delegate. Despite our different biology, it accepts physical contact from an alien species. Because Rex judges individuals by their actions and intentions, not by their appearance, Anna explained. He knows that Guide Fell has been kind to us, so he responds with friendship. Commander Yell floated closer to the central platform. Dr. Bell, the Council has reached a preliminary decision regarding Earth's membership application. But first we have a proposal. Anna felt her heart skip a beat. What kind of proposal? Several member species have expressed interest in learning more about human-animal relationships. Would Earth be willing to serve as advisors for a Council research program, studying these bonds and their potential benefits? Anna looked down at Rex, who was now accepting gentle pets from Guide Fell, while other delegates watched in fascination. I think we would be honored to participate in such a program. Excellent, Commander Yell replied. Then it is the unanimous decision of the Galactic Council that Earth be granted provisional membership, with full membership to be considered after a successful consultation period. The chamber erupted in sounds that Anna's translator interpreted as applause and celebration. She felt tears of joy running down her cheeks as she realized that humanity had finally been accepted into the galactic community. But the real surprise came next. Crystal Shard approached the platform carrying a small glowing object that seemed to be made of the same crystalline material as its body. Rex of Earth, the alien said formally, the Galactic Council hereby awards you the Medal of Valor for courage in defense of station personnel and diplomatic representatives. You are the first non-sentient being to receive this honor, though after witnessing your actions, we question whether the term non-sentient is appropriate. Anna knelt down and held the medal while Rex sniffed it curiously. The other delegates gathered around them, and for the first time since arriving at the station, Anna felt that they were truly welcome. Over the following days, Anna watched as something remarkable happened throughout the station. Aliens who had previously dismissed emotional bonds began asking questions about their own relationships with animals on their homeworlds. Some admitted to feelings they had suppressed or ignored for years. Guide Fell confided that it was considering returning to its homeworld to study the abandoned relationships between its people and the tree worms. Hunter Vell spoke of hunting companions on its world that might be more than just tools. Even the logical HFY began discussing whether their insect tools might benefit from different forms of interaction. Rex seemed to take it all in stride, accepting attention and affection from beings who had once mocked his very existence. He had become a bridge between species, proof that some things were universal: courage, loyalty, and love. As Anna prepared for the journey back to Earth to report on their success, she realized that humanity's greatest contribution to the galactic community might not be their technology or their intelligence. It might be their capacity to form bonds that transcended species, logic, and self-interest. The universe was a vast and often dangerous place, filled with beings who thought in terms of efficiency and practical benefit. But perhaps it needed species who understood that some things were valuable simply because they made life worth living. Rex had taught the galaxy that lesson through his courage and sacrifice. Now it was up to humanity to help other species rediscover what they had lost in their pursuit of advancement. The stars had never looked more welcoming.